Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Freebeat, where I post new music-related content every single day. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Let's get started. Every once in a while, I will post a video about sequencing drums and how to bring a little more life to your sequence drums, and that's what we're going to do today. So I've got the PO20 Arcade here, which is a tasty little 8-bit style chiptune arcade synthesizer with some drums built in as well. Today we're going to be talking about how to use your drums to create an expectation, how to imply something so your listener feels something or wants to hear something but it's just not there, and then how to deliver on that expectation. Or sometimes you don't even deliver on the expectation, you just leave them hanging, which that's a little more advanced technique. But yeah, we're going to be talking about how to imply something, how to create an expectation from the listener, and then how to deliver on that. So let's just go ahead and make a basic pattern here. So we'll go kick drum right here. We'll go kick drum on 1. We'll go doonch catch, doonch catch. So we'll just have kick drum on 1 and 3. And then I think this is hi-hat. Yep. We'll just do 8th notes and then snare drum on 2 and 4. Let's listen. Let's bring up the tempo a bit. Very simple pattern. So what we can do is copy this pattern a couple more times. I'm going to copy it 3 times. And we will add a little variation to this so that the listener kind of gets shaken up a little bit and maybe starts to expect something more. So what we're going to do is go to our second instance of this pattern, and we can hear the bass drum is square on 1 and 3 each time. So what we're going to do, there's the bass drum, 1 and 3. We're going to move this second bass drum, whoops, that's not it. We're going to move this second bass drum here from squarely on 3 to the 1E and of count 2. So 2E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and. Does that make sense? So we're going to put it right there on the 1E and 2E and. So now, let's listen. Kind of grooves it up a little bit. So let's play these 2 patterns back to back. So now all of a sudden, our listener knows that we are not just stuck on 1 and 3 for the bass drum. They know that we're not afraid to change it up. So most of the time, the listener, whether subconsciously or consciously, is going to hear another bass drum. They're going to hear boom, catch, boom, boom, catch, boom, catch, boom, catch, boom, catch, boom, boom, catch. So we don't want to give that to them yet. We want to do it every other time. And this is more of a short term, creating an expectation and then paying it off. It can get way more in depth than this. I'm a huge Rush fan, and Neil Peart is like the god of this. So like you'll hear something, you'll hear a certain fill or a certain tweak to a groove over and over and over, and then like at the last possible second, like the second time through the last chorus or something like that, he'll give it to you, and it just hits so hard. But anyway, let's go ahead. We'll go to the third pattern now. So we're going to make this same change again. So we're going to make sure we're on our bass drum, turn on write mode. We're going to move it here. And then we're also going to put it right here on the 3E and on the E of 3. And obviously this is like one of the most basic of sequencers. There's not a lot of options we have to do dynamics or anything like that. But this is just one instance that, right now we're only using 3 patterns, and we can do so much. So we'll play the first one, the second one, and the first one again, and then the third one. Let's listen to this. There we go. So what it kind of does is the first time through the first 2 patterns, it kind of sets up a question almost with that single bass drum out of place. And then you can look at the second time through as more of the answer. That's our payoff. So the first bass drum, yeah, it's out of place. It sounds a little off. Boom, catch, doom, catch. And then it's like, oh, what's going to happen next time? And then the listener realizes, oh, they were just setting up for this. Doom, catch, doom, catch. It's a really cool feeling. And we can take this even further. Again, this is more short term. I mean, this is an expectation and a payoff in the first, or in just 4 measures. But like I said, there are people that'll take this to the extreme and do it across a whole song. But we can further take our third pattern. In fact, let's copy that one. And we can change it up even more. Let's see. What are some sounds we have access to on here? Okay, I like this one. We can pretend that's a crash cymbal. So what if we put that square on 4? So let's go ahead and select that, and then put it square on 4. All of a sudden now that's another payoff. We'll pretend that's a big crash cymbal on hit 4. So boom, gat, doom, gat, doom, gat, doom, doom. And that can feel really, really cool too. Kind of a little, an unintended explosion. So we can make this 8 measures long now. We can go first pattern, second pattern, first pattern, third pattern, first pattern, second pattern, first pattern, fourth pattern. Now let's take a listen. Just like that. And the cool thing is we just did all of that and we only used 4 patterns. So if you're doing this on a pocket operator, you still have, 12 more patterns you can use. And of course you can tweak those too in real time, and you can also play the sounds over the top of it. So you could get even further if you wanted into that. But that's one of my favorite examples of, not call and response, but expectation setting and then delivering. You could also never give the user or the listener that third pattern or the fourth one. You could just change it up, and let's take the second pattern though. So just with the 1 bass drum out of place, let's copy that into a new pattern. And then what if we put, there's that crash cymbal right there. There we go. We'll put just that crash cymbal on 4. So all of a sudden now we have a new payoff. So we'll go 1, 2, 1, 5. Such a little detail, but I guarantee you someone will notice it, and even if nobody notices it, they're going to hear it subconsciously. They're going to be like, oh, that's, those drums sound cool. And all it is showing that you're giving respect to the listener by putting, a little bit of detail into your drum parts. So many times you hear, sequenced music and it's just the same thing over and over and over. And I'm definitely guilty of this, especially when I'm trying to crank out videos. I'll just sit here and I'll just be like, oh, that pattern's good, and then just repeat it, 8,000 times for the rest of the jam. But if you can really go in there and show your listener that you're taking care to put in, just little tweaks that make sense rhythmically, make sense musically, it really goes a long way. And musically, I really mean it. I think that, drums, even drums that don't have a lot of, variance between their pitches, you can really speak through them, speak musically. I mean, just this first pattern here that we did, those 8, that really, it's hard to put it into words, but it talks to you. It tells a story, and it kind of moves things along, and it grows and expands on itself, which I just think is the coolest thing. And we can go to this one. And just like that, we've been growing the pattern, nonstop. You can link all of these together, especially if you're on a pocket operator where you don't have a lot of sounds available to you, you don't have a lot of ways to work. It's just imperative that when you're writing tracks that you take care and use every ounce of the pocket operator that you can. Someone else to listen to with this kind of stuff is Gar Hoover, just a wizard on the PO33, all the pocket operators, but he takes really great care in his percussion tracks. And it comes across in his music as just stellar. So that's going to do it for this one. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below. I do want to touch up on this in the future on the drum set. maybe with like a PO32 or something like that as well, and kind of show the differences. But yeah, if you guys like this video, go ahead and leave a like on it. If not, you can leave a dislike. That's okay too. Doesn't hurt my feelings, just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.